Good afternoon. My name is Gail Moriton. I am from the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, the Business Resiliency Manager. And with me is Mark. Mark, do you want to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mark Friedlander. I am the Director of Corporate Communications with the Insurance Information Institute.
So today we're going to be talking about business continuity and insurance and how it works together. And so I will get started. So what you will learn today is who is the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, or our short name, IBHS. You're going to learn why businesses should plan, how to plan using IBHS's Open for Business tool, or OFB-EZ, as well as our Easy Prep tool. It's a severe weather emergency preparedness and response plan. You will learn who is the Insurance Information Institute, or their short name, III. They will talk about, or Mark will talk about financial protection during hurricane season, including an annual insurance checkup, commercial coverages you should consider, why flood insurance is so important, and steps to take for filing a claim. So IBHS is an independent nonprofit scientific research and communication organization. We are solely supported by the property insurers and reinsurers. IBHS's building safety research leads to real-world solutions for both home and business owners by building stronger, more disaster-resistant buildings, developing business continuity and recovery programs, and making individuals, businesses, and communities more resilient in the event of a loss. Our mission here at IBHS is severe weather disrupts lives, displaces families, and drives financial loss. So IBHS delivers top-tier science and translates it into action so we can prevent avoidable suffering, strengthen our homes and businesses, inform the insurance industry, and support thriving communities. So in 2010, IBHS created a unique state-of-the-art research center in Richburg, South Carolina. We're the only lab in the world that can fully engulf full-sized 1- and 2-story structures to a variety of natural hazards. The heart of the research center is the fan array with 105 fans. Each one is equipped with 350 horsepower motors and has diameter of nearly 6 feet. These fans are similar to those typically used in the mining industry to provide ventilation for large underground shafts. But we use these fans in order to create realistic Category 1, 2, and 3 hurricanes, extratropical windstorms, wind-driven rain conditions, and strong thunderstorm frontal winds. The floor plan inside the chamber is 21,000 square feet, which is equivalent to about 4.5 basketball courts, or large enough to accommodate 9 2,300 square foot homes. We also have a 55-foot diameter turntable so that we can move building specimens 360 degrees during testing without any human intervention. So the Small Business Majority and American Sustainable Business Council conducted a survey after Hurricane or Superstorm Sandy. They found that a majority of small businesses, whoops, it skipped ahead. Hold on, I'm sorry. The majority of small businesses operate out of a single physical location. This makes small businesses more vulnerable to loss compared to larger companies who have backup resources at alternate facilities. As a result, small businesses are more heavily impacted by technological and telecommunications failures, the absence of employees, power failures, supply chain interruptions, and rising insurance costs. This study also found that the average cost of downtime for a small business affected by extreme weather was $3,000 per day. And remember, this was back during Sandy, so that was 2012. 50% of small businesses had no disaster recovery plan. And then those small businesses that did have plan, 90% of them spent less than 1 day a month preparing and maintaining those plans. So IBHS statistics show that businesses that close due to disaster, at least 25% or more, or I'm sorry, 25% in 1 out of 4 never reopens. And the thing is, the statistics are probably higher than that because most surveys just cover the first 2 years, and some businesses that hang on only last 2 to 5 years afterwards. So this slide here used to be one of my more popular slides, excuses for not having a plan. However, I think it is pretty safe to say that with this global pandemic, it has affected every business in some way or another. But previously, business owners tended to think that bad stuff always happened to the other guy. Unfortunately, we have all experienced related uh, outages, business interruption, business disruption due to COVID. So right now we are all the other guy. And with IBHS OFB EZ program, planning can be simple by using our toolkit. So we created OFB EZ. It's a free streamlined tool designed to help even the smallest business focus on planning for any type of business interruption so that they can quickly reopen and resume operations following a disaster. OFB EZ is an easy-to-use tool that does not require any previous experience or knowledge with business continuity planning. The toolkit and the fillable forms are available in both PDF and Word formats, and they can be downloaded from the IBHS website at disastersafety.org. In addition, the toolkit is also available in Spanish. OFB EZ is also available as a mobile app. It was created in partnership with one of our member companies, EMC Insurance Companies. The app allows businesses to complete and store their plan on their smartphones, tablets, and even PCs. And the information entered into the plan is stored only on the user's device unless they decide to share it with others. And when they do decide to share it, the data is encrypted and it's locked with the password that the user creates during the sharing process. So for those users who prefer to use a full keyboard, they can download the Windows app to create their plan on a laptop or desktop computer. So the first section of OFB EZ is Know Your Risks. A risk is any type of event or situation which could cause a financial operational impact to the business. Risks should be measured in probabilities and or frequency or probabilities and frequency. That's the likelihood that a risk will occur and then how often. And then in severity, what is the amount of damage the risk is capable of causing the business if it does occur? So a good place to start when considering your risk is your particular county's hazard analysis or mitigation plan, which you can easily search in Google. It will include both historical threats, so those are your past threats and disasters in your area, and geographical threats, hazards related to your proximity to floodplains, major airports, dams, ports, etc. The businesses should also consider hazards related to your own business, their internal threats. What are the threats that stem from the nature of their own business, from specific situations that may originate inside your organization, such as illness, death, theft, fraud, employee morale, the type of equipment that is used, your IT risk, and your building. And then there's external threats. These are threats that are beyond your control, but they should be aware of, such as a violent group that may be protesting at a nearby business or government building, nearby construction or special events like a large sporting event or concert. So now that they have documented their risks, the next step is to think about their various departments and what activities their employees perform. So as a starting point, business owners may want their employees to document their daily activities for about a week or so. They should think about and document activities performed on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis, special times of the year, and even occasional or as needed basis. This will help them complete the next step to identify and document the business's critical functions. So which functions are most important? Well, those are definitely going to be anything that is legal, contractual, regulatory, or financial obligations. And then those functions that need to be recovered or start performing in the first 24 hours, the first couple of days after a disruption. So once you determine which functions are the most important, then you need to start documenting who performs and helps perform this particular activity. What technology is needed to complete it. And that includes hardware, software, web tools, websites. And then what about dependencies? Are there vital records that are needed to conduct this particular function? Is the internet needed? What utilities are needed? Any equipment? What about another department or a staff member? And then you also have to consider if there's a third party that also contributes to this. And then how is the activity performed, and are there any manual workaround methods if a dependency is not available? And can it be performed at a different location? And then finally, who receives the final product or service? The next section is know your employees. So a business's owner's most valuable asset are their employees. Therefore, it is critical for them to know how to contact them after a disruption or a disaster. And this is to make sure they're safe, to let them know the status of their own business operations and when and how they can get back to work. So this can only be accomplished if they have collected, maintained, and have access to current contact info for all their employees. So suppose an emergency prevents them to get to their business. So where is this information stored? And how would they know the best method to reach their employees? Do they have current home and telephone and cell phone numbers, email addresses? And what about emergency contact info, both in-state and out-of-state? And then when was the last time they verified this information? And is their employees' contact information available to them outside of their business location? So is it somewhere saved in the cloud, or is there a hard copy saved at home? So know your equipment. So often businesses have particular equipment that serves as the primary source of a successful operation. If such equipment has failed or is unavailable, the business may have to restrict production of goods and services or be forced to shut down. Business owners should identify the key equipment and machinery necessary to perform critical business functions. The knowledge of your equipment exposures and the impact on your business operations is critical to properly manage the exposure. So then the next section is know your key customers, contacts, suppliers, and vendors. So the same logic applies to knowing your employees' contact information to knowing your key customers, contacts, suppliers, and vendors' contact information. Usually your finance or accounting department should be providing the planner with any updates or new supplier info or vendor info. Products and services that are used but not produced by the business are going to be likely to rely on a third party. So having that contact information for them is critical. Knowing your information technology and vital records is another section. So you want to create a record for each piece of hardware, software, a vital record that was uncovered when you completed the Know Your Operations section. Business owners should plan for how these items will be made recoverable and available to their staffs during disruptions. The Know Your Finances section is more of a checklist of financial items to consider before a disruption occurs. This is things like who can activate or has access to the business's line of credit, is there emergency cash on hand and who has access to it, and then do you have certain payrolls in regards to an emergency closing, and do your employees know what your policy is so that they know in advance. The next section is know when to update and test your plan. So once your plan has been developed, people may think they can check it off their to-do list, it's done. However, if a plan is to be successfully deployed when the need arises, it has to be reviewed and updated continually. A business is constantly changing. There's new products, new services, upgrades to your technology, staff coming and going, or changing responsibilities. All of these affect the business. So if the plan doesn't keep up with their changes, then their plan can't and won't be effective when it's most needed. So when it's time to review your plan, which is usually annually, a business should think about what risks have changed. Have they added a new department, a new product or service? What about priority levels for business functions? Those may have changed. And of course, keep up with your suppliers and vendors, keep those up to date. And staffing, has staffing changed where you need to update your employee information and as well as their responsibilities? So these are the type of questions that you want to make sure that you're reviewing when it is time to review your plan. Then once it is completed, you want to test your plan. Without testing your plan with your staff, they'll never know if the plan will work when needed. So in the toolkit, we've provided a power outage disruption exercise. And it's pretty simple. You can sit around a conference table and gather with your employees to discuss actions and questions provided. And this can be done informally during work lunch or as part of the staff meeting. And then the very last section of OFB Easy is just know where to go for help. A business relationship with their community and outside agents and operations. So this section, we've just provided a list of organizations that may be beneficial resources for a business owner. So we also encourage businesses to create a severe weather emergency and response plan specific to their building and their property. First, we need to understand what risk your business is exposed to. And are you in the Northeast where heavy snow can fall, or are you located in Miami Beach where hurricanes are currently upon us? So every region of the country is at risk for severe weather during at least some seasons of the year. And most weather events provide some type of advance warning, such as a hurricane or a winter storm, where you can prepare in advance of this event. So by knowing what to expect in these type of weather events, businesses can organize actions and tasks in order to prepare their building. So there are two common fatal mistakes businesses make, is underestimating their exposure and then failing to understand the hazards that are based on their location. So not only is understanding what weather events your business is exposed to, it's important to understand the severity and the additional hazards your building location poses. So for severe weather, look at the previous year's storms and how your location was affected by it. If you're in a flood zone, that poses a higher risk for flooding and you want to incorporate mitigation into your planning. So there's free online tools such as the FEMA Flood Map and the ATC, which is the Applied Technology Council Hazards by Location. The second and most important is to plan. Developing the plan is smart, and with IBHS's Easy Prep tool guide, it's now easier than ever. So Easy Prep helps businesses prepare their property in advance for severe weather, as most weather events, as I said, provide advance warning. It helps businesses organize their actions and tasks chronologically. The toolkit walks users through how to plan for an event before, during, and after. And the toolkit is customizable based on your particular business's needs and tasks. So there are 8 components of Easy Prep, which includes life safety, sunny day building preparation, preparation right before, during, and after an event. So the first section is life safety. So while life safety is part of Easy Prep and is very important, it's not generally part of our mission, IBHS's mission, but in context of emergency planning and response, it is a critical component. Business owners must take measures to ensure employees are safe, which often means extending plans beyond the office walls. And then there's your off-season or sunny day preparation. So ideally, emergency planning and preparation is a 12-month priority. However, the off-season is the best time for major reworking of plans, making those big ticket purchases and renovations. So as most know, it is often more economical to take these actions in the off-season. The weeks before the start of a severe weather season in a particular area is a good time to refocus a business's efforts. So prior to a storm, this is the time you will prepare your business and facility in the days and the hours leading up to that weather event. During a storm, the tool provides tasks your business is to do during the storm. And then after the storm, there are tasks outlined on how to return to your facility, document damage, resume operations. And then additionally, reviewing the process with your employees as a debrief will also help in your planning for the next event. So let's talk about this toolkit in the example of a hurricane, which the hurricane season just started this week. So first there's organizational planning. With an existing plan, this is the time to review and practice it. Like a fire drill, practicing your emergency preparation plan allows key players to perform their tool or their task when the time comes. These key players are the ones that you have assigned tasks as either primary or alternates in the Easy Prep plan, which could also include such thing as monitoring weather conditions. Have that person monitor all local advisories as well as the NOAA National Hurricane Center. This individual should monitor and track the storm and be prepared to implement the emergency plan. You want to appoint and train your response team to handle life safety issues, business closure, and evacuation measures. And then finally, verify all employee contact information at the beginning of hurricane season. This is for obvious reasons. When you need to get a hold of them, you'll have to have that correct information. And then finally, building maintenance. You want to ensure conditions are safe to conduct building maintenance. Remember, this is a sunny day prep, so you want to wear protective equipment and follow all safety protocol. protocol. And then the rule of thumb, if it feels unsafe, it probably is, so stop and hire a professional. So at 5 days before landfall of the storm, there are tasks such as securing your items that are around the building that could become projectiles, inspecting for loose debris. You're going to notify employees of the potential of a hurricane and that the emergency prep plan is now in full effect. You want to ensure that the employees know how to find out information about your business, so make sure that they have that contact information. So at about 3 days before landfall, you're going to want to do tasks such as quickly reinspect all your roof-mounted equipment, your edge flashing and drains, make sure they're not plugged up with debris. You want to remove any items from the building that may become a projectile. You may want to store them in a safe location. You want to bring all inventory that you can from outside. You want to clean out debris from outer perimeter drains so that you can reduce flooding. And again, you want to update any of your communication tools, such as your website, social media outlets, telephone recordings, and your intranet. This is what lets your customers and your employees know the status of your building. So, and the final hours before the landfall of a hurricane, you want to make that decision of when to close your office in order to leave enough time for your employees to prepare their own homes and families for the store. You want to make sure you notify your key customers of your closing date and time. And then you want to conduct a final facility prep, including the installation of maybe temporary shutters or deploying permanent shutters, such as roll downs. And you want to you may want to consider disconnecting all electrical equipment, and then of course closing and locking all your perimeter doors. So during the actual storm or the hurricane, you should have someone, if you have one, monitor your backup generator. You want to make sure that you're continuing to update all your communication tools and make sure that your employees are checking in with their managers so that you know whether they've evacuated or are they staying in home or have gone to a family's residence, just that you're keeping it track on their whereabouts and how they're doing. So once a storm leaves the area, you want to authorize particular employees to go to your facility to assess conditions, document any damage, and then when it is safe, you can then alert employees who have startup responsibilities to return to the facility. You want to take inventory of all damaged property, damaged equipment. You want to report damage and related expenses to your insurance company. And then, of course, you want to notify your key customers, suppliers, and partners of your facility's reopening. And then finally, an easy prep is a debrief. So approximately 2 weeks after the event, you want to bring all your staff together. And here you want to discuss any successes or failures. You want to ask for suggestions for improvements. And then you're going to document these and update your plan for the next time that it needs to be used. And then, of course, you want to inventory and replenish any emergency supplies that were used during the event. So this is what the customizable Easy Prep template looks like. And as you can see, it's an Excel document. So it is very easy to add rows in these documents in order for you to add tasks specific to your particular business or delete a row that doesn't apply to you. So IBHS urges businesses to implement both an OFB Easy and Easy Prep plan, as having both an emergency preparedness and response plan, as well as a business continuity plan in place, will save them time and will permit them to focus their energy during emergency situations. So in addition, by taking this action, they will help make their communities more resilient while also protecting their employees and their business's bottom line. In the toolkit, there is also a supply checklist. It lets you and your team decide on the necessary items needed before, during, and after the storm. So this toolkit, we feel, can be used for other types of threats. You can develop a plan for, again, any type of event if you really think about it in advance. So, for instance, in our COVID period that we're in, when businesses were deciding to shut down, there were steps that some businesses should take. You need to secure your property. You want to make sure you've got some maybe indoor and outdoor lights on timers. that you have locked and secured all personnel commercial doors and windows and other potential entry points. You want to keep your shrubs low to the ground so that prevents hiding places for thieves. You want to make sure that you maintain your landscaping and keep all your walkways and your driveways clear of debris, depending on what time of the year this is. You want to notify your essential service providers and partners. You want to contact your fire and security alarm monitoring companies, let them know the status of your building, maybe even contact your local police department and your insurance department to let them know of your temporary closure. And depending on, again, on the time of the year, you want to adjust that thermostat. In colder climates, you want to adjust the temperature to a minimum of 55 degrees and insulate pipes that run through your exterior walls so that you can prevent freezing and possibly rupturing. And if you're in warmer climates, you want to adjust your air conditioning to approximately 85 degrees to protect against humidity and potential mold growth. And then finally, you want to inspect for leaks and maybe turn off your water supply to individual fixtures such as sinks and toilets. And consider having your maintenance staff or a licensed plumber install electronic leak detection or sensors to alert you of leaks while your business is temporarily closed. And then when it is time to reopen after it's been temporarily closed, there are tasks that need to be done. You want to assess your property, designate an employee to get to the office to assess the conditions and the damages, if there are any. You want to inspect the perimeter for signs of any trespassers or damage to the property, and that's including outdoor inventory as well as building components such as windows, walls, and personnel doors. You want to look for signs of rodent and insect infestation since you've been gone. You want to inspect your domestic plumbing. Those are your water piping that supplies water to your water heater and all your other fixtures. And turn on water supply if it was shut off. You want to check your HVAC air filters and replace if necessary. Consider a thorough cleaning of the facility, paying special attention to heavy usage areas such as event centers, gym, locker rooms, and restrooms. You want to follow any CDC recommendations for proper cleaning guidance. And then if there were any severe weather events during this temporary closure, you want to inspect your roof for signs of damage or ponding, or hire a licensed contractor to mitigate any damage found. Then while you're reopening your temporarily closed business, you want to notify your essential service providers and partners of your return. So again, that includes your fire and security alarm monitoring companies, your local police department, your insurance company, and then any cleaning and landscaping services, and as well as your customers and clientele. You want to check your fire protection system. Ensure that your fire protection system is in proper working order. You may need to contact a fire protection contractor if needed. And then consider your equipment and machine startup. Review all the startup plans with your employees. If your facility does not have a startup plan and has equipment and machinery, you would want to create one at this point. And of course, if you do find damage, you want to be able to document that. And this is including your inside of your building as well as your outside. So workspaces, tools, equipment, and report that to management so that they can report that then to the insurance company. And then again, just like a weather event, you want to hold a debrief meeting with your staff to note those successes and failures and anything that needs to be added to the plan in the event it occurs again. So because we are hurricane season and COVID is still existing, we've got two events. So you want to be able to address any issues to your building while these multiple events are concurrently happening. So you want to make sure that you stay calm and initiate your emergency preparedness plan. Again, identify key employees who will be able to help you conduct anything that needs to be done. You'll need to keep in mind of those employees that are working remotely and are not able to come to the facility for whatever the reason. So you may need additional backups. You want to just focus on key building items such as maintenance and preparing for high winds. And then again, hiring a contractor this time may be difficult. So routine maintenance should be maintained. So our disastersafety.org website this is our landing page here and what it looks like. we have do-it-yourself mitigation guidance and projects for both homeowners and business owners. So you would click on the type of peril that you would like to see what we recommend, and then click on either your home or business owner to see the type of projects that you can do it yourself. So in my part of this presentation, the conclusion, the 3 items that I would like to say is just that, 1, all businesses are at risk for some type of disruption. No one can no longer say it won't happen to me, whether it's hurricanes, severe thunderstorms, winter storms, or tornadoes, or pandemics. All organizations are exposed to some type of a disruption that can pose a significant risk. And then plans allow businesses to get a jump start on recovery, reopen faster, and then reduce their losses. Their businesses will have a better chance of remaining competitive and minimizing the loss of revenue and customers with a plan. And then business continuity must be considered as a constant in everyday business. If plans don't keep up with changes, plans aren't and won't be effective when they are most needed. So now I want to hand it over to Mark. Mark, I'm going to give you control. You're on mute, Mark.
Thanks, Gail. Appreciate the handoff, and I think we are ready to roll on my end. First of all, want to introduce myself, Mark Friedlander of the Insurance Information Institute, and give you a brief overview of who we are. The Insurance Information Institute was founded in 1960, and what we do is provide objective, fact-based information about insurance while also being a trusted source of unique data-driven insights which inform and empower consumers. We want people to have the information they need to make educated decisions, manage risk, and appreciate the essential value of insurance. We have more than 60 insurance company members, including 9 of the 10 largest P&C insurance writers in the US, and our focus is to create and disseminate information. We neither lobby on behalf of the insurance industry, nor do we sell insurance. We are not an insurance agent. We are not an insurance carrier. However, moving to this slide that's up on the screen now, whether you're a consumer or a business owner, this is the ideal time to have an insurance checkup if you live in a hurricane-prone state. Why is that so important? Because you want to make sure you have the appropriate coverages for hurricane season. If you suffer a loss, large or small, you want to make sure you are protected. And what we talk about with insurance always is protecting your financial assets. You want to make sure your business, all your possessions within that business are financially protected as we head into, as Gail already mentioned, a very active season is expected. So we all want to be prepared. And just bear with me one moment here. Make sure everything is working okay. It's not. Okay. I apologize here for some technical difficulties. Not able to get the slides to move here. Not sure why we're frozen here. Okay, there we go. Worked somehow. Okay, so we're going to talk about important types of coverage. And really the first coverage that we think about with small business owners is called a business owner's policy. That's standard business insurance, standard business coverage. And a business owner's policy will cover you for all types of weather perils, whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, tropical storms, straight line wind events, etc. That's all covered, but it also covers some other perils as well. For example, if your property is damaged by fire, if the business is damaged by fire, and even in the current state, we're seeing some civil commotion around the country over the past week or so. We're seeing riots, and unfortunately, some have gotten to the point where they have significantly damaged commercial properties in many cities across the country. If you have a business owner's policy, that is a covered loss as well. That's an important point to make. And then, of course, with hurricane season, you would have a separate hurricane deductible that applies to your coverage, and that's part of your policy. And the way for you to know exactly what you have, in addition to talking to your insurance agent, you could also just review the declaration page of your policy. That'll give you an overview of all your coverages, and it will explain exactly what's covered, what your deductibles are, and gives you the important details that you need to know that you are protected. But as I said at the start, always good to have that annual insurance checkup. But building upon the business owner's policy, the next piece of that is business interruption coverage. That will protect you from revenue losses. For example, if you suffered a catastrophic event, a hurricane has hit your facility and you're shut down for a period of time, with business interruption coverage, you will be protected for those losses. And what we see is roughly 40% of small businesses carry that coverage. It's an optional coverage, but something certainly important to consider. And if you bear with me, I have a brief video that I am going to share with everyone now to give you some more detail on business interruption. Here we go. Not working. Okay, bear with us.
Business interruption, or BI insurance, generally covers lost income after a covered claim triggers a commercial property policy. Like all insurance policies, there are exclusions to things like war, nuclear accidents, and other large-scale risks. Losses due to bacteria and viruses, other communicable diseases, or pandemics are typically excluded from coverage. Business interruption is not a standalone policy. It's typically offered as part of a commercial property policy or business owner's policy. Business insurance is triggered by physical damage to property, like when there's damage from a fire or hurricane. If a local, state, or other government entity closes a business due to physical damage to a nearby property, civil authority coverage may be triggered. So there may be coverage if an insured property isn't damaged but is forced to close due to government action. However, if there's no physical damage, such as a fire, business interruption insurance isn't likely to pay. For more information, visit fairinsure.org.
Okay, back to our presentation. Hoping we've had some trouble moving these slides, and I apologize for that today. But one other coverage I did want to cover here. We go. Just they're moving really slow. There we are. So we skipped over that, and hopefully you saw that video and got good information contained within. The one other piece of important coverage for businesses is your commercial auto coverage. And in most cases, commercial auto policies will have comprehensive coverage, but you want to make sure, depending on the size of your business, that you do have this coverage. And why is that so important? During hurricane season, all non-collision damage will be covered. For example, a tree falls on your vehicle. It is flooded out. It's sitting in the parking lot of your business and a flood occurs. That will be covered by comprehensive auto. So basically just consider it as everything non-collision is really the most important way to look at that.
Mark, your screen is not showing with your slides.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Just the title page is showing right now. There we go.
Thank you. Okay, let's back it up. Okay, well, there we go. That's okay. Well, you heard the information. But thanks, Gail. Yep, I'm going back and forth with videos. Apologize for that. Everything's clear now. I was about to talk about flood insurance. Flood involves 90% of natural disasters. So you really need to consider flood insurance for your business if you don't have it. And the other key point is your business owner's policy, your BOP, does not protect you from flood. So the way we look at flood is typically that is water from the ground up. And any type of calamity that occurs with water from the ground up to your business, you need to have flood coverage. So you want to talk to your agent about that as well. And in terms of what are limits on flood policies, for the National Flood Insurance Program that's operated under FEMA, the flood limits are $500,000 for your building property and $500,000 for your personal property. But important point to remember is there's a 30-day waiting period before a national flood insurance policy becomes effective. So you can't decide at the last minute when you hear a major storm is coming to your area to buy this coverage. However, there now are several options through private insurers as well that the limits may actually be higher than what the NFIP offers. And also their waiting periods in most cases are much shorter than 30 days. So once again, something to discuss with your insurance agent to see what your options are on flood coverage if you don't currently have it. We are locked in again. Yeah, definitely there's technical difficulties here today and apologize for that. Okay, there we go. So steps for filing a claim after the storm. This is really important because if you do have storm damage after a hurricane or any other weather event, you want to know what you need to do to file your claim. And really, as a starting point, you want to create a photo or video catalog of your property and all the possessions, everything, all the equipment, everything within your building facility. So you have a record of that. And then of course, also you should have an inventory of your retail, if you're a particular retail location, retail as well. So you have all those records and that will help expedite your claim process. So you have that in place. And then the first step, once you're ready to file the claim, is contact your insurance agent or carrier as soon as possible to begin the claims filing process. And then take photos of the damage. If you see particular damage within the property, capture that if it's safe to do so. You can take photos or video of that damage. You want to prepare an inventory of all damage or destroyed property and document that as well. And you want to make sure you have good records of everything. Make sure you are recording all of this information. You want to get, once you get through the process of the adjuster and you get your estimate in terms of what the losses will be, and you've gotten the approval to move forward with making repairs, you want to get multiple bids for repairs, either through your insurance company could provide you with some names and organizations to help you with that, or you could go through your local government. Your local county will have licensed and bonded contractors that you could reach out to help with the claim process. So once again, you want to make sure this claim process is as smooth as possible and have everything documented, both written as well as video and photos is really important. And the other final thing, keep all your receipts as well. That's really, really important too. For any expenses that you incur going through that claim process, you want to make sure you keep all your receipts. And here's our contact information. So please feel free to reach out to Gail or myself on the content that we discussed today, or for anything else related to insurance issues. You can certainly reach out to me and the III. We're here to help with any type of both commercial and personal insurance items. And also want to mention, give a sneak preview at 3:30 today. The III will be doing a presentation at the National Hurricane Conference's virtual 2020 program on preparing for hurricane season, all the steps for communities, particularly community-based preparation for hurricane season. And as part of that presentation, we will be having a special presentation from Phil Klotzbach, who leads the Tropical Meteorological Project at Colorado State University. And today, Dr. Klotzbach and his CSU Atmospheric Science team released an updated hurricane season forecast, and we'll be talking about that at the start of our program. So you'll want to tune into that. You can still register for that on the National Hurricane Center's website if you haven't done so already, but we'd certainly welcome you to join us for that. And we thank you for attending today, and enjoy the rest of the conference, and please stay safe. Take care.